Yeah.
So Laura, did you want
Unfortunate,
to open with bowls?
yes. Pardon me?
So you got your bowls ready? Good.
I do.
Thank you.
So
I like
everybody,
your bowls.
everybody
Yeah.
mute.
Everybody mute.
Oh, how do I
Oh,
do
how do I
that?
do that?
That makes
That
me,
makes me.
everybody says
Everybody
mute.
said you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always
Always be.
beautiful.
Thank you.
That was
All right.
wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I love it too.
There we go.
Right through me this time. Ooh,
Yeah, same. Sometimes I just come in here and just sit and play the bowls. Very grounding for me.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So Paula.
Okay, you ready, Sal?
oh, sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Um, we did talk over some questions, but I have another one I added. So I'm going to start with that one. Do you feel that working with Red Basket on the women's circle you did for 12 years was kind of like your opening, your conscious opening to your spirit journey, or did you think you were on it before?
Uh, I think working with Red Basket and then running the women's circle for 12 years um opened some spiritual doors and enhanced and expanded my spiritual journey. I've been a seeker since I was about 7. But I think that working with Red Basket and then running the circle, and then with you running the circle, it gave me a focus, gave me a targeted focus, and I expanded my abilities and my understandings, developed a vocabulary that I didn't have before. It was very beneficial.
So, and Red Basket originally ordained you, correct? In
Yes. Yes.
2005?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I went to Arizona to the conference there where I met Shirley and a number of other Mo and a number of other wonderful people, and they ordained me again that same year. So it was a
I
double.
remember Mo. She was a real sweetheart.
Oh yeah.
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 She was a character.
She
Yes.
sure was.
Best way, in the best way possible.
Right. And from there, you went to be a priestess in 2008
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
a bishop. Did you go back to Sedona to be ordained a bishop in
Yes.
2009? Yeah, I thought so. I think that's the journey we made together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both the priestessing and the bishoping were done at Sedona.
Okay. Yeah, and that's where we met all the wonderful people.
I met Nikki
Yeah, that's right.
at that temple.
Yeah, that was a beautiful place. Yeah. Um, so you stayed in the ministry. When did Terry Riley appoint you head of the mystery arm, the ministry, not the mystery, the ministry
Yeah, that was a
arm?
mystery. When the split happened, what was that, 2016,
think so, yeah.
that conference, that following January or about January, February, around in there, when Terry was trying to pull things back together again and get something going. I had originally called her to say, what happened? Because I was not at that conference. And she explained from her perspective what she thought happened, and then we had a series of conversations over the January and February, and she said that she wanted me to take over the head of the ministry arm of the new group that she was forming. And I voiced my reservations because my only benchmark had been Milan for so many years, and I'm no Milan. And she said, "No, I don't want you to be Milan. I want you to be yourself." Because what she wanted was somebody who was, according to Terry, fairly grounded and could help keep things together while we were forming the new group. And so I reluctantly said, "Okay, temporarily, I'll do it." Well, here we are. How many years later?
Yeah, almost 10. Yeah.
We had no defined definition of what my duties would be or anything. I was just supposed to hold that space, which I've done.
And you still do. Yeah.
And I still do.
But we did come up with a job description for you. Can you let everybody know some of the things that we just discovered were your job?
Okay, on a sort of a technical, practical footing, I'm responsible for processing the paperwork and so forth for people who are coming in as new ministers, and sending out their certificates and that sort of stuff. The clerical work, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I think the most important thing that I do is I try to hold sacred space for us, by just living the best life I can and by putting it out there to the universe that, we are trying to do good things and that we need we need that safe space. We need that guidance. We need that, we need the angels with us all the time with that. So I hold sacred space, and I create ceremonies whenever we need them. I've got several that are almost ready to give to Sally, or not to Sally, to Befriend, to put on our website. Some of them are already there, but I've got some updated stuff. So that's pretty much what I do is I hold sacred space. I keep the door open for new ministers. By keeping the door open, what I mean is I try to help create an atmosphere that's safe and that's productive and positive energy for them to expand their ministries within our framework and to help share that. So that's pretty much what I do. It doesn't look like much, but I think it's kind of a lot.
It is a lot. It's a big responsibility.
So it's I might not always be, like I said, I might not always be here physically online, but but I'm always holding space for us and always trying to be a good example. Some days are better than others, but you know how it goes.
And you've actually mentored some of the newer ministers in the
Yes,
last
I
10
have.
years, so that's
I have.
helpful.
I learned a lot
Um,
about how to do that from Shirley, because Shirley was my mentor
Mhm.
for my rise to priestess and then to being a bishop. Shirley is invaluable, everybody. She is
Yeah, she is.
one of our amazing, amazing elders. And Shirley, I can't thank you enough for all I've learned from you over the decades.
Yeah. And
Yeah, she
continue
has.
to learn,
Yeah, continue.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a treasure trove of information, and history of our whole organization. From the very beginnings of the Church of the Talking Pines and forward. She's got a lot to teach us of where we come from and help us go where we're going. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Shirley.
And
Uh,
for me, one of the most important things Sally does is she holds me up when I'm ready to crash, whether it's personal or business or ministry. She's always there as my support system. And without her, and she did the same for Terry Riley as well. So, without her holding up my backbone, sometimes it would collapse. So I am extremely grateful. Um, Okay, share with everybody what you think are your special gifts.
well, I'm I have some minor empathic abilities. I think we all do if we think about it. And I think it's part of the human part of what we are. I can't think of the right word right now, but I do have sort of an empathic ability. Um, I am a Reiki master with the Lightarian Reiki. I'm a henna artist, and with my henna, I do healing henna. And by that, what I do is when you do henna, you have to touch the person that you're working on, either to steady their arm or wherever you're working in, or to steady your hand or whatever. But there's physical contact between you and your client, and I kind of sense if they need some healing. And so what I do is I just open myself up to the universe and say, if this person needs healing, please send it while I'm doing this, while I'm doing the Reiki. I can give you an example. And this is how I discovered it years ago, when Paula still had her shop in Hope Valley. I was doing henna on people, and a lady came in late morning, and she was a mess uh, emotionally. Her mother was being buried that day. There was the funeral, and she was just an emotional basket case.
Mhm.
And she wanted some henna. And I thought, okay, fine. So we talked a little bit, and I decided to give her the tree of life. I don't know, it just came to me. So I started putting that on her hand. And by the time I was done with it, and of course you had to touch her to keep her hand steady. And by the time I was done, her mood had completely shifted and she was feeling calm and centered and ready to face the funeral and everything that goes along with it. And she thanked me. She said I really made her feel better. And I thought,
Oh,
oh, and I thought, whoa, that was pretty dramatic. So ever since then, I have tried to be conscious of that. Now, most of the time when I'm doing henna, I'm doing it in a fair and festival setting, although I am open to doing private parties and so forth. And I've done some small group get-togethers and a couple of Sangeet night of henna bridal sort of things. But I try to keep myself open so that if I'm working on somebody and they need healing, it just flows. Sometimes I don't even think about it anymore. If somebody doesn't need it, it doesn't happen. I just give the henna. If somebody needs it, they get healing with the henna. And it's not me that's doing it, it's the universe doing it. The universe knows everything. So, but those are pretty much, oh, I also do face painting. I don't know if I mentioned that. And I love working with kids. And my husband does balloon figures and stuff with the children. And it's I think yes, we often get paid for what we do. Sometimes we volunteer. But the best thing is a smile on a kid's face when they look in the mirror and see what I've done.
yeah.
You make the world a better place, one smiling kid at a time. And I just love that. I've been doing that since 2003. And before that, I did theater, so I was doing makeup there too and costumes. So I've been in that service sort of life for 40 some years. And I just love it. It brings me great joy and it brings joy to other people too. And it's a gift I have to give.
Hmm. For sure.
And I saw Sally as a teacher at URI, because my husband discovered her and said, "You got to go there and help with costumes." That's how we met. And I watched her. Those kids were like, she was like a second mother to them. Any crisis, they went to Sally. They didn't talk to the head, whoever was in charge. It was Sally. Sally, I need this. Sally, I need that. She taught me a lot about sewing, which turned out to be a good thing because I did costumes too. But she was the most patient teacher I had ever met. And those kids, you could tell those kids absolutely adored her. And recently we met someone that was a student of hers 35 years ago. You know, Sally, oh my God, tell her I said hello. She was the best teacher I ever had. And it was just really great to pass that
That's
along. And you did that for how many years, Sal?
35 years.
Yeah.
awesome.
That's a lot of kids she helped
Mhm.
get on their path. And so she was sort of like second mother, counselor, always had snacks, one of those people.
I really
You're
miss the kids.
Yeah,
I
you're
really
still
miss the kids.
doing some teaching now, you said? Senior center?
Oh yeah. I'm not working with kids anymore unless you qualify people going into their second childhood. Um, I do. Uh, there's a group of us that run the craft corner, which is the last Tuesday of every month. We come up with some kind of a craft. People sign up for it ahead of time. It doesn't cost them anything, but we try to gear the crafts toward things that challenge everybody just enough to stimulate them. It's good for the brain. It's good for the manual dexterity, fine motor skills, socialization, and all that. And we've had really good success for it. We've been doing it for 2 years now, and the people really they look forward to it. Seeing what are we going to do this month? What are we going to do this month? You know, and we've had a couple of people that at the beginning said, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do this," and they do it, and then they look forward to the next one. And
Mhm.
we've seen some remarkable growth in some of these people that these people are in their 80s, most of them, some of them in their 80s, so they're like way up there. They're a lot older than me because I'm only 76 now, so I'm a kid compared to them. And it's really been great for them. It's been a real help for their socialization and so forth. So it's very rewarding. It's all volunteer, and this center pays for the supplies. And so it's a lot of fun. So like that there.
Like that there. And another venue that Sally and I shared was the 12th night celebration. Can you talk to them about that and how much fun that was?
I
And how
was
many years you did it?
the Westerly Chorus, the Chorus of Westerly is a community chorus located in Westerly, Rhode Island, and they're internationally famous. They are an unbelievably wonderful music chorus, and they've traveled all over the world. They've performed for the Pope. They've performed for Queen Elizabeth, yada yada yada, and they've done tours. In fact, they just did another one this last year. Anyway, for 30 years, I was part of the costume design team for their celebration of 12th Night, not Shakespeare's play, but a musical theatrical extravaganza that they would put on every year for 30 years. And the premise was one of the founders of the course would write the stories each year, and they were based on legends and mythology and so forth. But it always had a theme of good triumphs over evil, light over darkness, et cetera, et cetera. And we would do the costumes. And some of my former students, Andrew Ledestri and Stephanie Traversa and a couple of others, were part of our design team. And we all worked together for 30 some years. I met Andrew when he was 8 years old. He now runs his own theater up in New Hampshire called Theater Up.
That's awesome.
And they are quite famous up in that neck of the woods, and they've won all kinds of awards. He is a real powerhouse. And Stephanie works with the Contemporary Theater Company, which is in Wakefield, Rhode Island. And she also, I think, has a day job, but she's incredibly talented with leather crafts and so forth. She does incredible masks and things. But this last 12th night, this last year, Paula and I were asked to help out again. It's been 10 years since the last 12th night. So we got the band together and we did one more shot at it. And we had a really wonderful time. It was great working with some of the old volunteers and with everybody. So Andrew
Especially Andrew. Yeah, Andrew's energy is amazing.
He's like a nephew to me. He's just such a sweetie. So that was what we did. And I used to do costumes for Darren Wood and Flock Theater in New London. And we would work out of the Arboretum at Connecticut College, there in New London. It was outdoor theater, and we would use the lodge as our staging area. And I did that for, I don't know, 12, 15 years, maybe. And didn't you help me with a couple of those, Paula?
Yeah, I also helped you make some of the costumes for one of the shows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You used to use my garage.
Yeah, we'd be sewing in Sally's garage till midnight some nights. But Sally made most of their costumes, and her costuming is incredible.
Well, 50 some years of experience, you learned something.
A few things, yeah. But she also had Stephanie, whom she taught, who was helping on some of the flock stuff. But yeah, her skills and her ability to listen to what Darren wanted, because Darren was the director and he also had his own opinions about stuff, and come up with a compromise if something didn't work or she knew wouldn't work. So, Darren just about worshiped at her feet as well. But their costumes were absolutely incredible. For a small theater company, they had 2 full rooms of costumes because they did mostly Shakespeare. So their costumes were pretty elaborate and they were created by Sally. And most of them were actually made by Sally.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, they were. Yeah. She's just, her talent is amazing.
But I
And
don't
I've
do
seen
costumes anymore.
you what?
I don't do costumes anymore.
No, you don't. No, you just paint faces. And we had a funny thing this summer. She was doing henna, and John, they do this seafood festival, and John creates this humongous lobster that he actually puts on and walks around, and he's a regular photo op. People come year after year to have their picture taken with the lobster. Well, John looks like Santa Claus. He really looks like Santa Claus, even when he's taken out of his lobster suit. So he's sitting there, and this little girl is having a temper tantrum because her older sister got her henna first. And her grandmother is doing everything she can to quiet this child down, and nothing works. So I said to the little girl, see that man over there with the beard? That's Santa Claus. This is his summer job. Do you really want him to hear you stopped on a dime? And the grandmother's going, and she's laughing. And the sister looked at her and the mother goes, thank you. It was just hysterical. I'm good at coming up with thoughts on them.
Same.
And I hate kids who scream anyway. But yeah, it's just amazing how many young people came and wanted henna, that they even knew what henna was. We never had much of a line because we took names and what they wanted so that we could be prepared. And I tell them, go play, come back in 20 minutes. So she was busy all day long. She never stopped the 2 days I was there.
Yeah.
And everybody went away with a smile. Everybody loved their designs. And your designs are mostly yours anyway, right, Sal?
Most of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
Some
How
of,
many-
some of the little tiny things I get off the internet and stuff, but the major designs are all my.
Yeah, but you got what, 4 books of designs that they
Yeah,
could look
I
through?
just finished. Yesterday just finished trimming all that down. I'm down to 3 books now.
Oh,
The 3 books of things that I know I can do 10 minutes or less.
yeah. And it's amazing to watch people go through, like especially young women who are with their mom. Well, I like that, but no, I like this piece of that. Well, I don't like that piece of that. And they just stand there and talk about it. And then when they finally pick one or ask Sally if she can combine 2 of them, it's like magic. And it's amazing to watch her create these designs with a little tube of stuff that's called henna. It's yeah. And she enjoys it, which is
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah. So what else have you taught? Can't remember.
Well, costuming, theatrical makeup. I do a henna workshop at CCRI once every semester where I teach the kids sort of a brief history of henna, because incidentally, the practice of mehndi, henna is the plant, mehndi is the art form, and it's been practiced for over 9,000 years. Now, the designs, originally henna was used for medicinal purposes only because henna has a cooling property to it. And so they would put it on the forehead, on the palms of the hands, on the soles of the feet to cool the body down, to keep things cool. Because it originated in, I call them the sand countries, pick one, North Africa, Egypt, the Middle East, Southern India, Southeast Asia, all those places. I know Southeast Asia is not so much sand, but it's still hot. And so for thousands of years, they used it as a cooling agent and for medicinal purposes. It also has an antibacterial quality to it, and they used to put it in the hair. originally putting it in the hair would keep people from getting lice and other kinds of nasty scalp issues. And then somewhere along the line, around 5,000 years ago, somebody decided to make it look good. And so they started making little designs, and one thing led to another. And it developed into a true art form. And it transitioned from being purely medicinal to being used for ceremonial purposes, to celebrate the harvest, to celebrate victory in war, all sorts of celebrations, to celebrate fertility, et cetera, et cetera. And then it transitioned. They use it for bridal parties and for rites of passage. And in India, they've got all these different gods and goddesses, and everybody's got their own holiday. And so they would have different ceremonies, different designs, different procedures for each of them. And I believe in India, there's something like 102 holidays, major holidays in India that are celebrated at different places within the subcontinent there. And everybody's got their own take on it.
You see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's not done with henna. That's henna style. And that's done with what we call a henna glam, which is actually
Is another.
yeah, no, that's done with henna. That's henna. Where'd you get those?
You did them all. There was a whole bunch of us, and you did them all. And this was mine.
Yeah, and that was done with the henna glam. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it's we use Prosade adhesive. It's kind of a creamy, it's sort of it's got the consistency of a face cream, and you add white or whatever color. White. Oh, I remember this now. Okay.
Yeah.
Use white or whatever color face paint you want to it, and it gives it a pigment color.
Yeah.
And then I put it in tubes and I draw with it. It'll last for a day or two. It's not
Beautiful.
designed to last for very long, whereas henna can last up to 3 weeks before it fades away. Because henna stains the skin, the henna glam sits on top of the skin, but it's the same process to draw it on. I actually am just drawing with. I make, what the cake decorator cones look like. Well, I make little tiny ones that are, I don't know, maybe 4 inches long, if that. And I fill those about 3/4 of the way with the henna or the henna glam, whatever. And then I tape them shut so it doesn't splurt out the top. And then I clip the bottom, and then I just draw with it. Okay, like I hold it like a pencil and I just draw with it. And I do it on candles. I do it on
Yeah, I have
plaques.
2 beautiful candles that you did.
Yeah, you do. You do. And or you've got one too that I did, I think, don't you?
Too. Yeah.
And
I do
Paula's
too.
got a couple.
Yeah, mine.
I do that. And I'm now started
one.
doing
That's one of them.
Okay. There you go. Get a bigger picture.
The other one.
That's one. Yeah.
I love them.
Did that lose one of its jewels?
It did. Can you tell? I'm missing one.
We'll
Yeah.
have to get together. I'll have to give you another jewel for it. I think I might
There you
still
go.
have one.
Okay. I love it. I use them all the time at night. I get so many compliments on them.
They're battery operated candles. They're real wax, but they're battery operated, and they flicker like a real candle would.
Yeah.
They're very popular, and sometimes I even sell them.
She does a great job.
Yeah. And this is mine. This is my birthday one with my angel wings and my roses.
Oh, I can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
You see it better
Yeah.
now. Anyway,
You need
it's
a bigger-
gorgeous. I love it. It lives on my dining
Here you
room
go. Now
table.
you
Here
can
we
show
go.
it. Here
There
you
we
go.
go. There's one wing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That is pretty.
Yeah, she's a Gemini, so
Beautiful.
it's,
That's the Gemini symbol. Yeah.
I did a
And she's
whole,
made them for my daughter-in-law and a couple of my sisters. Yeah, we keep her busy. But everybody, yeah, she's right. Everybody loves them. You've been doing dragons lately, right?
yes, I've done a series of dragons, and I also started working with something called slip trailing. Uh, my friend Sarah Makowski makes incredible pottery stuff, mugs and plates and bowls and you name it. And she did a series of trays, and she gave me this stuff called slip. It's just white clay that's liquefied to the point where it runs like toothpaste, like runny toothpaste. I stick that in a cone, and then I draw on the tray with this. And then once it all dries, she fires it, and then she puts different pigments in it. Um, and so I did one that was a seahorse, and I did two dragons for her. And
Wow.
last year I did some flowers and some other things on a bowl. So it's really fun. I like working with Sarah. She does a beautiful job. She's a
Cool.
really good soul.
And last year's all sold, I think, right?
We did.
Yeah,
Last
they
year's
all
all sold.
sold.
And we sold the seahorse one to my cousin Dave from Ohio.
Oh, cool.
He and his wife Mary were up visiting me. First time in 25 years I get one of my family to come and visit. Um, and they were looking at my stuff, and they bought the seahorse for my cousin Patty, Dave's sister. So one of
Nice.
my pieces of artwork is out there now.
Very cool. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I really enjoy doing it. And painting on candles is a whole lot easier than creating Elizabethan ruffs,
I could bet.
if you know what those are. Think Queen Elizabeth and that big thing she wore around her neck. It was
Mhm.
all nice. Yeah, that's a ruff.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, candles
And
are
you,
not as heavy as an Elizabethan gown.
right. And you recently joined the Art Association in Westerly.
Yeah, the Artist
Cooperative.
Co-op Gallery of Westerly.
Very good.
So
Yes.
I joined in 23.
That's
And
cool.
I've actually sold a couple of my candles and some stuff there. Not much, but a little bit. But I like the group. They're very community minded. We do a lot of outreach. Uh,
Mhm.
our members
That's
teach
awesome.
classes, and every month we invite an outside group to come to our East Wing gallery and show their stuff, so that it
Nice.
lets people know that we're not isolated. We really are part of
Right.
the community.
And you highlight other people too, and I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and yeah, we contribute to scholarship programs for the school children in Westerly area who are in the arts, and it's also been very rewarding. So it's a really dynamic group. I'm glad to be part of it. Paula and Matthew are part of it as well. They're
Nice.
they're associate members. So,
And she's also one of the kitchen goddesses with me.
oh yes,
We
we are
get
the
the
kitchen goddesses.
we get the food. People bring food into the kitchen that at the beginning of the month. We set it all up, make it look nice, and set it out on the table and keep it moving. And I think a lot of people just come for the food, but
Yeah, we have an opening. We have a new show every month that opens the first Wednesday of every month, and that Friday we have an official opening from 5 to 8, and our members contribute whatever they've made or purchased and brought in for food, and a number of the local restaurants donate, like Perks and Corks donates all the wine.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and there's a pizza place that donates pizzas, different types of pizzas, and yada yada. It goes on and on and on. And our members are very generous. Once a month, they bring in all kinds of goodies to eat. And yeah, we get people that come. I think they just come for the food. We had one lady that complimented Paula on the spread and said, "But are you going to serve vegetables?" If it had been me, I might have said something undiplomatic, but Paul was very good.
Yeah, I just reminded her that the spanakopita had spinach in it and the spinach squares had spinach in it. And then I went back
Good
into
for
the
you.
kitchen before I
Redirection, yes.
stuck my foot in my mouth. Yeah, I mean, we spoil them. And it used to be the committee used to take care of that, and it got to be a real pain for the committee. So when my husband joined 3 years ago, I didn't have anything to do. I was retired and I got bored and I said, well, let me come. So I started arranging things in the kitchen with what they had, and everybody thought that was such a great idea. Can you keep doing it? And then can Sally do that with you? Yeah, okay.
There you
So
go.
it's
The
become
kitchen
evolved.
girls.
No,
Yeah.
kitchen goddesses. We
Oh,
have to
sorry,
keep
the
our,
kitchen
yeah.
goddesses.
Well, I started out as the kitchen slave. Then I got moved to
You got
goddess.
promoted.
I got promoted.
Got
Yeah,
promoted
demoted. I don't
quickly.
know which. Yeah,
We prefer the goddesses.
but we have fun, and Sally has become an integral part of that organization as well. She's now the secretary.
Nice.
Under protest, they had to
Under
twist my
protest.
arm.
Good for you.
So,
I
but she
didn't
never
want to do.
stops. She never stops teaching. She never stops learning. She never stops doing.
That's
And that's why
Sally.
she's my best friend in the whole world.
Wow.
And we
Mhm.
also swim
No
together.
pressure there.
We swim together twice a week in the warm pool.
He's
And
my swimming buddy.
Yep,
yeah.
that's good.
So
So, anything else you want to add?
no, I think I've pretty much covered it.
Anybody have any questions for Sally before we close? Because we've got 15 minutes left. So,
I'd
comments, questions?
like to hear your spin, since you're the space holder for the ministry, on what you envision could be next steps for us on any level.
Good question.
I would like to see us expand our focus over the coming years. I foresee a steady growth, not a fast one, not a huge one, but I don't know, good things come in small packages. And I feel like we are acquiring or what's the word I'm looking for here?
Attracting?
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks. We are attracting people who have valuable insights, valuable talents, and the will to share, the will to teach, the will to share, the will to spread that light. And that's what we're supposed to be all about anyway. This world is so messed up. And but yet there's such beauty here. And I think it's up to us to highlight that, to point people toward that beauty. And that beauty it comes from each and every one of us. It's by, being careful what we say, by being, and I don't mean politically careful, by being positive and supportive of what we say to one another, to people, to be open and caring, to be willing to share our own expertise in a friendly and compassionate and gentle way. We are not a hardcore church. We are a ministry of love and a ministry of light. And I think that by doing what each and every one of us does in our daily interactions with the other human beings on this planet, we are exemplifying that. And I think we need to continue that. And as we do, I think we're going to grow. I don't think we're ever going to be huge, but I think we're going to grow. And I think we're going to make a meaningful contribution to the evolution of humanity.
Amen.
So that's,
Thank
I
you.
think that's our purpose. And I think if we just, each and every one of us stays true to ourselves and true to what our mission is, I think we're going to achieve that.
Mhm.
to answer
Well
your
said.
question- Okay.
Beautiful.
I do have a little story to tell you real quick. Somewhere at the beginning of this session, I was asked about my spiritual journey. When I was a little kid, let's see, I was about 5 years old. We moved from a house in the country into Akron, Ohio, where I grew up. And in our front yard, where there was this big rock. It was, I don't know, it was kind of a smooth sort of, it had been there, gosh, forever, I think. And I can remember on summer nights when I was little, I think I was around 7 or so, I would sit on that rock and I would look up and I could see the stars up above on a clear night. And I can remember asking the universe, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do with this life, in my 7-year-old way? But I do remember saying, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be here? What am I supposed to do here? And I didn't get any clear answers. Of course, I'm 7 years old. So I went about my little childhood. But I do recall looking back on it that even back then, I was championing the underdog. So I had a couple of friends that I dearly loved and played with. And one of them, my oldest friend in the whole world, Cindy Weiss, who now lives down in, I think, St. Augustine, Florida. She had a deformity. She was born with a cleft palate, and with her left hand was like this. She had a thumb. And they performed surgery on her, and they were able to bring out her little finger. So she had what looked like this. Okay. And they performed surgery on her mouth, and so they fixed all of that. And Cindy went on to be a wonderful person. I loved her parents and her younger sister. And there was a boy on the street who used to ridicule her because of her deformity. And I can remember once, I think I even gave Paul Bess a bloody nose because of it.
Good girl.
But kind of backed off after that. But he used to harass Jimmy McDermott, who I also played with. And Jimmy was my creative buddy. And we would make up these little plays in our basement, and we would make costumes and stuff. And we're talking like we're 7, 8, 9 years old. And Paul used to harass him too. And I used to tell him to back off. So I think I was sort of the champion of the underdog even back then. I just thinking back on it now, I didn't see it that way. I just thought I was defending my friends. But yeah, I think that I've sort of done that all my life. It's in different ways. And I think each and every one of us has done that too. I get the sense each one of us has championed the underdog in one way or another. And I think that's another thing that we're supposed to do as well. Maybe not socking people in the nose, but
Only if they need it.
yeah, but we can do it with words. We can do it with our other actions, so forth. So, and that is the end of my story so far.
Awesome.
Can you hear me, Sally?
Yes, I can, Cindy.
All right. So I don't know what I've done with my crazy phone, but I got the screen off. So I just wanted to say, I love you. You have been an amazing inspiration. You and Paula and Laura as well, good mentors. And, even though we don't see you all the time on Sundays, I know in my heart of hearts that you're out working your ministry and your community, because that's just who you are. And that's just what you do. Everything from the heart. And that would be why I love you.
Oh,
I just
dear.
wanted to say that.
And you too. Do you folks know what Cindy does on a day-to-day basis? She works with people who are in physical dire straits. I will say that. You do hospice care, you do, and you work with people who are approaching transition, and she does it with love and with caring. You've been doing that for years and years. She also works with first responders
Community
and
emergency response team. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember several years ago when you were getting some of that together. So Cindy is talk about somebody who
Thank
works
you.
hard. She works
We
every
all do
day.
in our own little ways. We all do our thing. Yes.
Laura works with people in transition, and you do a form of hospice care and a transition work with people who are crossing over, and
Teddy bears.
the teddy bears for after the fact, and they're incredible. And you do healing with your bowls, and Shirley, what can I say? Oh my God. Shirley and the Ancients.
Mhm.
Shirley has been an inspiration and a mentor to many, many of us.
Every
And
one of us. Yes.
yeah, with her awakening process and various other empowering workshops that she's developed and done through the years have helped thousands of people. And Kevin, you with your advocacy for the LGBTQ community and folks who have other life-threatening diseases and so forth, you've been a real spokesman for them where maybe they didn't have a voice before, and your continuing work on that is inspirational to me.
Well,
And
thank you very much.
Nikki, all the things that you do and keeping us on track with the ministry and doing all that, plus all the modalities that you know how to do.
I see this big tree, and each one of us has our branch on that tree. And it's a
Oh.
beautiful tree. And each one of us
Mhm.
helps each other to keep that going. So let's keep that going. Okay.
The tree of life.
Amen.
Yeah, Katrina, and
Right. And we each get to decide whether we want to be a fruit or a nut.
Yes.
I think we all are fruits with nuts inside. Hi, Matthew.
I was just going
And
to say,
here
I'm
I
going to
see
stick to the nutty
your
side.
husband right over here next to you.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi there. You still want to come? Or...
Hi,
Yeah.
Matthew.
Hello.
All right.
All right.
I
So
really miss the in-service conferences, though. You think that will ever happen again?
it may.
I wish we did.
Yeah, I wish we did too, but time constraints,
Are
money
very busy
constraints.
with
Yeah.
summers are very busy with Sally. So why don't we try and keep our thinking caps on and maybe talk in August and try to plan something for September or October when it's less busy for Sally. Because I really want her I want you there, Sally.
And then
I
we'll
love
find a location that is easy for
Yeah.
everybody to get to.
Right. And people won't have commitments and won't be traveling with vacations and
Fly to
so let's try to
Ottawa.
plan
Cheap.
for
Come to
Yeah,
Ottawa.
Kevin's got a spare room we can use.
Kevin, if you
Oh,
find
I'm
us a
going to keep that in
place,
mind for when I want to run away.
Kevin, if you find us a place, we'll come.
Oh, I know of a place. I already did a encephalitis conference there some years ago.
Oh, all right. Well,
Okay.
we need
It's
to
right
talk
in
about
the
that.
market. It's in the middle of the tourist area.
Get us some
And
information.
yeah, all I have to do is contact the tourist bureau and let them know what I'm looking for.
Oh,
And
great.
they will come back with proposals.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Okay.
good.
You've
All
booked
righty.
us a place and we'll figure out how to make it. Well, we got about probably 12 or 15 of us, 16 of us that could go, maybe.
I would say at least, I would hope on our end is at least that.
Hmm.
Well, we've got
We
6,
got quite a few
9
in
right here
New
today.
England.
Yeah.
We've got
In New England, there's several of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's quite a crowd
Yeah.
in New England.
Elena, Depulia, Katrina.
I'm thinking of people who are likely to go.
Yeah.
We have some members who won't travel. I can guarantee
Right.
it.
Right.
I think
Okay.
there's 9 people right here who would, you know.
Right. I have
Plus,
some notice. I'd like to,
I've got
yeah.
about 3 or 4 more. You know, we could maybe get 15, 16 people together.
Okay.
Do a tour.
Yeah. Do a tour
All
of
right,
Ottawa,
ladies.
Canada.
Road trip.
All right. I gotta go.
I
Have
gotta
a
go
good day,
too.
everybody.
Have a blessed
Blessings.
week, everyone.
Thank
Love
you,
you all.
everybody.
Love you
Next
all.
week,
Blessings.
next week is
Bye.
Terry Bishop.
You all.
She'll be working
Bishop
us.
Terry next week.